Hello everyone, today we are breaking down Season 1, Episode 3, Betray Our Moon of The Witcher. The timeline hasn't changed from the last episode, so say, once again, Ciri is in the present, then Geralt's timeline would be 20 years before that, and Yennefer's timeline is 50 years before Ciri's. The first thing we see is a boy who was attacked by some type of creature. He gives some exposition saying, when a wolf crosses a maiden's grave, a pregnant girl who died before her time, the babe starts growing right in her belly. When it's big enough, the babe rips out. It's a monster, a Vukodlak. There is no mention of this creature in the books or the wiki, but through the internet is the Slavic word for werewolf. The boy is talking to a witcher who isn't Geralt. The medallion he is wearing has a wolf on it, meaning he was taught at the school of the wolves, like Geralt. There are multiple different schools for witchers. Ways to determine where they were taught is through their medallions. If he was taught at the School of the Bears, he would wear a bear medallion. The Witcher asks for 3,000 orens up front. The Witcher makes his way towards the monster, following the blood trail which leads him to a meat storage room. The Witcher's eyes are black, meaning he has taken a potion to enhance his abilities, such as speed and strength. Normal humans can't take these potions as they are poisonous to them. The creature moves lightning quick and kills the unnamed Witcher. The creature they are actually dealing with, which we figure out later in the episode, is a Striga. A Striga is a human woman transformed into a monster by a curse. She is filled with hatred towards all living beings, devouring them without a second thought. She only comes out on the full moon to hunt, fighting with incredible speed and strength. During the day, the beast needs to rest, often choosing a sarcophagus as a hideout. We then see Geralt with a Lady of the Night. She's going over all of Geralt's scars and how she thinks he got them. She then comes to his scar and says, "I don't recall the bard singing of this one," suggesting that Jaskier's plan has worked. Kind of. He was going to change the public opinion of Geralt through his songs, and clearly Geralt is the main character in most of his songs, making Geralt quite famous for his deeds he may, or may not, have done. The whore then tells Geralt of another witcher that came through about a month ago, who headed towards Temeria. The lady then tells Geralt that Temeria has a pest problem, and some miners rounded up 3,000 orens to have it killed, but the witcher ran off with the money before doing the job. Geralt pays the whore for her services, but doesn't have enough coin to pay for the room. Geralt is forced to leave his horse at the inn for an insurance policy to make sure he comes back and pays. We then see Geralt enter Temeria, and he is greeted with a sign saying, "Temeria, realm of monsters and cowardly kings." This suggests that the townspeople of Temeria are not happy with their king who has done nothing to stop the creature. We then see a group of miners threatening to overthrow the king for his negligence. The prior king diddled whores while his subjects starved. Then a usurper came and rallied the people and took back what was theirs. Geralt then appears, and he thinks their plan to kill the king is kinda dumb. They are wary of witchers because of what happened the last time, but Geralt says he will kill the creature for a third of the price and will take payment after the job is done. The miners probably would have agreed to this, but then the king's men intervened. Ostrit, a courtier in King Foltest's court, orders the men to disperse in exchange for not being trialed for treason. Geralt is then escorted out of Temeria. The men escorting Geralt fall off their horses, being bewitched. We then meet Triss Merigold. Triss is a sorceress and an advisor serving in King Foltest's royal council. Triss wants to hire Geralt not to kill the beast, but to help save it. The killings have been happening for 6 years. They soon realized the creature was coming from the crypts, where the king's sister, Queen Ada, was laid to rest. Rumor has it she was having an affair with a young man in town when she died, and she was with child. The king fled the castle, ignoring the rising death toll. The Brotherhood of Sorcerers could not risk having another king being overthrown after Nilfgaard, so they sent Triss to cure it. Triss brings Geralt to inspect the bodies who have been slain. Geralt then finds the body of the unnamed Witcher. Triss covered up his death. If word spread a Witcher died to it, there would be widespread panic over Temeria. People would be leaving to go elsewhere. After further examination of the body, Geralt finds that the dead Witcher is only missing his heart and liver. Only Strigas are that picky of eaters. As I said before, Strigas are only created through curses, meaning that somebody want Queen Ada dead. But the curse didn't stop with Ada, and it turned her daughter into a monster. We return to Eretuz, and Yennefer and Istrid are having sex. The two discuss their relationship. Their paths are somewhat diverging. Istrid is going to explore ruins, and Yennefer is going to work as a mage for King Viferel. Yennefer then remarks that if she does a good job, she could give Istrid access to the ruins at Aden. Then the two could be together forever. It's a nice thought, but a naive one. Yennefer then talks about how far she has come, from being the scared girl to becoming a mage. She says she never wants to be that girl again. Yennefer then meets with the enchanter. Every girl who ascends to becoming a mage gets enchanted before leaving Eretuz to whoever they are going to serve. Pretty much what enchanting is, it can make the subject more beautiful and fix imperfections. It can also make the subjects appear younger. Yennefer still does not know what she wants for her enchantment. She said as much when she was talking to Istrid, and Tissaia senses this. She tells Yennefer that there isn't a person alive that does not look into the mirror and see some deformity, except for us. Imagine the most powerful woman in the world. Yennefer does this, and Tissaia takes that image from Yennefer's head and shows it in the mirror. Yennefer sees herself. We return to Temeria, where Triss presents Geralt to King Foltest, Lord Ostrit, and Captain Sigelen. Sigelen is just another advisor to King Foltest. Triss is pleading with them to hire Geralt so they can try and break the curse from the princess. It is a full moon tonight, so the Striga will be out hunting and killing. Sigelen doesn't believe Geralt's theory, saying that Princess Ada was the people's angel. No one would want to hurt her. Triss asks them if they could search the abandoned castle and see if they can find some clues to who cursed her. Sigelen doesn't want Geralt to go anywhere near the Striga, because if what he is saying is true, about it actually being Ada's daughter, making her the princess of Temeria, he believes Geralt will kill the princess and take the miner's money instead of trying to save her. Geralt then gives a brief description of what happened to Ada's daughter. She grew inside Ada, feeding on her petrified womb, mutating, growing for years till she got hungry. She was forced to slither out, an overgrown abortion. The king has had enough at this point and orders everyone to leave his presence. Geralt watches as the rest leave the room and locks himself in the room with the king. Geralt starts to figure out why the king does not want to murder the Striga. The king doesn't even flinch when hearing his sister could have been murdered, but when he mentions the girl's father, and the king has never been married, why wouldn't he just produce his own heir? Why not kill the Striga and avoid this revolt? Why drag this out? Geralt figures out that King Foltest slept with his own sister and got her pregnant, and the reason why he has been ignoring the Striga problem is that he does not want to murder his own child. King Foltest denies it and orders Geralt to leave Temeria at once. We then find ourselves in a meeting of the Brotherhood of Sorcerers discussing politics, how the King of Cintra, Dagorad, has banned mages from his city, and how the King of Nilfgaard spends his money on horrors while his people starve. Striga tells the chapter that Fringilla will not do well in Nilfgaard. She is only capable of doing what she is told. Nilfgaard needs someone with a bit more backbone. He suggests Yennefer. Tissaia is having none of it, saying, "We agreed that Yennefer would thrive in Aden, and the king of Aden, Viferel, prefers mages from his kingdom, and Yennefer was born in Vengerberg." Striga replies saying, "That would be spitting in the face of King Dagorad of Cintra if we sent Yennefer to Aden, their biggest trade partner. The only thing that Cintra hates more than mages is elves, and Yennefer is a quarter elf. They want to get Cintra back into the fold and have a mage there to advise them, and they don't want to risk Yennefer being a quarter elf to ruin that, even if the risk is small." The chapter votes on it, and they decide to send Yennefer to Nilfgaard. When Yennefer finds out, she is furious, demanding to meet with the chapter. Tissaia says she is the one who decides court assignments, and we believe you would be a better fit in Nilfgaard. Yennefer figures out Tissaia was overruled by the chapter. Tissaia says it was your blood. They can't send someone with elven blood to Aden without risk of vexing Cintra. Tissaia tells Yennefer that Striga told the chapter of her elven blood. Yennefer then figures out that Istrid must have told him. We return to Geralt and Triss as they sneak into an old castle where the Striga resides. The old castle is full of skeletons from the Striga's victims. The two head into Ada's bedroom, looking for clues who might have cursed Ada. Geralt looks at Ada's bed and takes a big whiff. His reaction is of recognizing the smell coming off of it, recently coming into contact to whomever the smell belongs to. Witchers all have increased senses from the mutation they go through. Triss finds letters from Ada and Foltest's mother, speaking about their incestual ways. They bring this up to Ostrit, suspecting that the former queen cursed her children. Geralt asks Ostrit about his relationship with Ada, and he said he was a confidant and a protector to her. Ostrit then brings up a theory that the relationship between Foltest and his sister might not have been consensual, and Foltest cursed the child to cover it up. Geralt says there is only one problem with that, though. Your scent was on her sheets, the old ones and the new ones, and I smelled what you were doing. So Ostrit is the one Geralt smelled in Ada's bed, and Ostrit and Ada were having sex. Ostrit confesses to being in love with Ada, and he was mad at Foltest for seducing his own sister. He actually cursed Foltest instead of Ada, but by doing this he got Ada killed, Foltest spoiling her with his seed. Triss yells at Ostrit, saying countless have died because of your jealousy. Ostrit says that it is Foltest's fault. He is the one that is lying to his people, refusing to kill the Striga. Triss asks why he just didn't expose their affair. Ostrit says that would have hurt Ada, and he would never do that. Geralt asks him how to lift the curse. He refuses to tell him, wanting Foltest to suffer. Geralt then simply knocks him out. We return to Aretuza, and Yennefer is not at initiation to join the Brotherhood of Sorcerers. Istrid gets worried and starts to look for her. Without going through initiation, she will not be allowed to be enchanted. Istrid finds Yennefer where the two first met. Yennefer is forging a document saying that she is the natural-born daughter of her father, not an elven bastard. Istrid tells her that is not going to work. The Brotherhood will not be fooled by that, and she blows up at him. Istrid apologizes for telling Striga. He said it was an idiotic manipulation test. He didn't know he was going to use the information. Yennefer tells him to lie, to say that you made it up to gain favor with Striga. Istrid says it doesn't matter now. You missed initiation, all the enchantments are done. Istrid then says he's been offered a seat on the research chapter. Neither of us has to go to court. We can travel the world together. We can be together. Yennefer is not about that life, saying that that would be a slow suicide, dusting for forgotten bones. We then find out Yennefer has been disguising her thoughts from Istrid, manipulating him. He is furious at this, saying, "You're just angry because you lost your chance to be beautiful!" Istrid is clearly upset, trying to take low blows and play off of one of Yennefer's biggest insecurities. We then see that the ball is underway with the newly initiated sorceresses matched with their kings. We then see a young Foltest bothering his sister Ada, foreshadowing what their behavior will be like when they're adults. Desai goes up to King Beferel of Aden, who is with Fringilla. This was supposed to be Yennefer's king. The king is not thrilled with Fringilla, commenting on how bad of a dancer she is, which really doesn't have anything to do with being a mage. Overall, he's just not happy about his sorceress. Yennefer finds the enchanter and demands him to make her beautiful. He says he would need time to prepare the herbs to sedate her for the procedure. Yennefer does not have time for that. The ball will end soon. Yennefer tells him she can take the pain. Yennefer is then strapped to a chair. She tells the enchanter to leave her eyes and scars from her suicide attempt. So there are still some things that aren't fake. Something to remember what she was before. The enchanter tells her there is a cost to all creation. To be reborn, you will bear no more. This means she will no longer be able to bear children. She will be infertile. The enchanter removes her sexual organs surgically. The enchanter then throws them into a pan. He burns them into charcoal. He then makes them into a paste. The enchanter says a spell in elder speech and paints the paste onto Yennefer, correcting the deformities. We can see where he has painted is almost burning the skin, being extremely painful. We can see her spine be readjusted, breaking the skin but healing almost instantaneously. Not every enchantment is this extreme. Yennefer just had a lot that needed to be corrected. We then see the new and approved Yennefer arrive at the ball, and King Viforel's reaction is pretty priceless. Yennefer immediately walks up to the king and introduces herself as Yennefer of Vengerberg. Desaya tries to interject, but the king is having none of it, and says, "Vengerberg, are you aware that I'm in the market for such a mage?" Yennefer and the king start to dance. Fringilla leaves furious that Yennefer has taken back her position in Aiden, and the rest of the Brotherhood of Sorcerers watch in anger as Yennefer was able to outplay them. We return to Temeria, where Geralt is trying to get into the old castle but is met by Foltest and his men. Foltest asks Geralt if this will work. Will his daughter be normal? Geralt honestly doesn't know, but is willing to try. He then reaches in his bag and grabs a brooch. This is Renfri's brooch that he grabbed off her in episode 1. Earlier in the episode, the whore asked Geralt if he has ever been in love. After seeing the scar, Renfri left him. Geralt doesn't answer, just stares at the ceiling. I think he actually had strong feelings for Renfri, and feels bad about what he did. Which is different from the books because she is just in the one chapter, and we never hear her mentioned again. He gives the brooch to Foltest to give to his daughter if Geralt can lift the curse. Foltest says he envies Geralt's mutation to live and never have to fall in love. As I've said in previous videos, many believe that Witchers have no emotions, which make them better killers. But Geralt has shown that he does have emotions. If he didn't, he wouldn't be trying to save Foltest's daughter. In a way, he is trying to save her because he failed in saving a princess who others thought was a monster as well, Renfri. We then find Geralt in Ada's room, with Ostrit tied to the bed. Geralt wants to know how to lift the curse. Ostrit refuses until he realizes he will die by the Striga if he doesn't. He tells Geralt that a woman hiding from the Brotherhood sold him a lamb and told him to kill it when there was a full moon. He then recited an elven chant and bathed in the lamb's blood until sunrise, when the rooster crowed 3 times. Geralt realizes the only way to break the curse and cure the princess is to keep her out of the crypt until sunrise. Geralt immediately starts chugging potions, needing the increased speed, stamina, and strength, because he knows he's going to have to fight all night long. We then see the Striga leave her mother's sarcophagus. Geralt hears the Striga coming, and leaves Ostrit tied up to pay for the suffering he has caused. Ostrit is soon face to face with the Striga, pleading with it, blaming Foltest for what happened, still denying any responsibility. He then gets disemboweled and dies. Geralt tries wrapping the Striga in a chain, because silver does hurt the monster. But the Striga easily breaks the chain, leaping towards Geralt. Geralt fights the Striga in hand-to-hand combat, not pulling out his sword because he does not want to kill it. Then Geralt uses a sign on the Striga. All Witchers can cast simple spells known as signs. That is why Witchers prefer one-handed weapons, so they have a free hand to cast. There are commonly 5 used by Witchers. Ard, which is the one we see here, it can thrust an opponent backwards. Igni, which starts fires. Iridan, which blocks monsters from getting closer. Quen, which is a protective shield. And Axii, which is mind manipulation, so a Witcher can tell someone to do something and they do it. Geralt continues to fight and once again uses the sign Ard to break through the floor and send the monster and himself to the level below. Geralt awakes from the fall, seeing that the Striga is still unconscious. They then both notice the sun is rising. They both dash to the sarcophagus. Geralt is able to get in there first. He climbs in, closes it, then casts Yrden to make sure the monster cannot get in. The curse has been broken. Geralt exits the sarcophagus and sees a girl lying on the floor. He goes up to her, but unlucky for him, the curse wasn't all the way broken yet. She still had the claws. He gets them right to the neck collarbone area. He then bites her to get her off of him. Geralt then passes out from the loss of blood. Geralt awakes to find that Triss has treated his wounds. Triss tells Geralt that King Foltest has issued a statement that Lord Ostrit gave his life to slay the Vudkalak and that they are going to build a statue of him. So even when Geralt saves the day, he still doesn't receive the credit he deserves. Instead, they will be honoring the man who caused all of this. Triss asks who's Renfri to Geralt, because he was uttering her name over and over again in his sleep, proving that Geralt feels regret for what he did and maybe even cared for the girl. Triss then says something more waits him. And then we see Ciri sleeping in the wilderness, suggesting Ciri is the Moor. This is our first appearance of Ciri, and she is drawn to the forest. This is the Brokilon forest ruled by the Dryads. They shoot a warning shot at Dara, who attempts to stop her. The second arrow hits Dara, though. We'll talk about the Dryads next breakdown because they are actually in that episode, and they're not really in this one. So what do you guys think of episode 3? Leave it down in the comments below, and if you want more Witcher content, please subscribe and check out the Twitter. Link is in the description below, and as always, have an awesome day.